do let us know your location. Today I am with absolutely amazing and phenomenal lady who has been at my show already a few times. She's a relationship expert and she knows what she's talking about. The amazing Dr. Constantina Stamou today will share with us her expertise and her knowledge on how to run a successful business as a couple. I'm so happy to have you back. Thank you so much for being in my studio again.
Thank you so much for having me, Olga. It's always a pleasure. I always enjoy our conversations.
Oh, me too, me too. And every time it just creates so much, almost like hurricane between people opinions and what they're saying, because sometimes what we say can be sometimes very controversial. And I think today's topic are more important than ever, because so many people that went into lockdown and so many people came up with ideas of businesses, and now they're starting the business together, being in a lockdown, being stuck at home, running a business. I have no clue how they're doing that. So would you mind just to share with us, first of all, maybe let's start with the first question. What do you think about, is it even possible for couples to build a successful business as a couple?
Yes, absolutely. There are very many couples out already in the world who are doing it very successfully. I don't have names at the top of my head, but it's a normal thing. It's a common thing, and it all depends on how the couple approaches it at the very beginning. If they are aligned in their vision, if they agree on what they want to build, and if they have clarity in their respective roles, then they are in a very good start. And then from then on, it's about, if they already have business experience, okay, let's apply that to the new business that we're creating together. And if they don't, if they're starting today, like let's say the pandemic has required this, that a lot of people become quite resourceful and they put minds together and they start to create, then are they willing to come together and learn business skills and develop their business skills and apply them to what they're creating? But also the key thing to that is to make sure that the relationship is respected alongside the business relationship and the business that they're building. Because often it's very common for people to, it's a little bit like parenting. Once the child comes to into the new family, the relationship tends to be on the back burner. We focus on the baby to help it grow and survive. So it's the same also sometimes with business. People try to help the business to grow and to survive and to progress, and to put the relationship on the back burner, and that shouldn't be the case.
I love that. I really like the example of like having a baby, because this is so true. How many families they have a newborn baby and that woman is paying all the attention to the baby and doesn't give any attention to man, what makes man being detached, not loved, not appreciated. So the same could be with the business. People can give too much attention to the business. I mean, every business requires attention, especially in the very beginning. But then how to avoid that? What would be your best tips on how to avoid that happening, business taking over the relationship?
I think being mindful about it is crucial, because it's very easy to keep on working. Like, you don't have to share your businesses with your business with your partner to keep on working, right? But if you do, and you cannot, you have this kind of challenge to separate the business time from the family life time, or the partner, your romantic relationship time, then you might end up going to bed working. You might end up going to bed with your partner talking about the meeting tomorrow, talking about the suppliers tomorrow that you're going to see, and discuss any client problems you might have. And you might enter an argument at 12 o'clock at night because you're still talking about business. So it's not really the time and place to do that. And a lot of people do without realizing that actually, sure, okay, it might feel good to work, it might feel good to be collaborating, it might feel good to be exchanging ideas and to looking for ways to help the business grow, but it doesn't mean that it's good for the relationship. It doesn't mean that it's helping the couple get and stay close to each other and stay close together. Because building a business is very action-oriented. It requires a lot of practical things to take place. It requires speed sometimes. It requires to kind of be on the ball. But a romantic relationship doesn't require that. It requires for people to be calm, relaxed, feeling comfortable in their skin, feeling comfortable with each other, and able to feel each other. So these two things are different. So if one is taken over and there's no real room for the romantic relationship to keep on developing, then it doesn't take that long. It starts to affect the relationship really, and then that feeds back into the business. It starts to affect the business. So mindfulness probably would be a key point, yeah.
I love that. I love it. This is so, so important. And you're right, it's just very natural for that to take over. So how exactly people actually could be more aware of their mindfulness? Is it like they should have some sort of reminders? Is it them checking out with each other? Is it them, doing something else? Do they have to go and see somebody for that? What exactly they should be doing to be mindful of that?
Okay, I see. Yes. Thank you for that. So when people who are building businesses right now, it has been communicated recently in the last few years, it's becoming more and more pronounced how much we should be looking after ourselves as we are building our businesses. So it's it's a self-care alongside the business. But when you're talking about couples who are running a business together, then there has to be time allocated specifically for the relationship. Let's say if you were in an office job, let's say you were working from 9 to 5, you know that you're going to clock off at 5 o'clock. And so the work time is contained. And sometimes, okay, we're working overtime, but that at some point also finishes. So being very clear about one's boundaries, about how much time the couple is going to spend working, how much time in that day and in that week they're going to allocate to themselves, to their relationship, to spend time together. And yeah, it can be with either calendar on Google, for instance, Google Calendar sharing their schedule, or it can be with alarms. It can be the practicality of it is not perhaps as important, because for different people, different ways of remembering that they have to have time for each other might work better or not. It will work according to the couple. But keeping in mind that they have to be allocating time to spend together. What we used to call quality time, we still call it quality time. They have to be doing that regularly, at least, let's say, an hour every day. They have to be spending at least an hour every day after work, not working and just discussing how they feel, just enjoying each other's company, remembering why they like each other, and also going on dates. It would be very helpful for the relationship to be very particular about that, to making sure that they keep on dating each other, so that they can be they can re-energize themselves, they can re-energize their relationship, and then that energy will be feeding again back into the business.
I love that. I think this is really powerful, to actually going on dates and having their own separate time, right? Because it's so easy to, when you drive to business together, when you do your business together, whichever parts of the business you do, and then to come back home and still having conversations about the business. It's so easy, right? Because it just happens naturally, because you have something on your mind and you start talking about that. But having that date night when actually you remove yourself from your usual situation at home and you take yourself all the way out there to the restaurant for the walk or somewhere else, I think could be really crucially important. That is a wonderful, wonderful idea. And yes, reducing the conversations, being mindful about the feelings, what exactly they feel. Yeah, I like this. And do you think there's any difference between men and women, how they approach the business and how much importance they put into the business itself? Would it vary, or is it pretty much identical? What's your take on that?
I think it's changing. I think there are a lot of women who are entering the business environment right now, either as generally speaking, either as solopreneurs or building their own businesses. So the way women have started to think about business has that business drive cultivated. It has that desire to succeed. It has a desire to grow the business, and it has a desire to kind of use their energy to make things successful. It's just that with women also tend to apply their feminine energy into it. I'm guessing they're nourishing and you kind of desire to help something grow. So it means that it would be easy for if the lady from the couple, if she has that already cultivated, it will be easy to collaborate with her partner, because she will already understand that it's a great way to harness momentum. That's where I was going. It's a really great way to harness momentum and to keep on acting, kind of trying to find my words, to keep on putting actions into place and to keep on building with that, as opposed to, I think, let's say a few years ago, or maybe even 10 years ago, when perhaps this was not as pronounced, let's say, perhaps women were entering the business world with a little bit more insecurity and a little bit more uncertainty. But we also today, we have the business coaches that we can work with. We have mindset coaches like yourself to work with and to keep on harnessing that mindset in such a way that will help a business to grow and progress and support a partner and support a collaborator, support a co-owner or co-director of the business. So I think we're in a very good place today. I think businesses have much more chance of succeeding because of that. The energies are kind of coming together in a kind of easier, more aligned way, I think, than before.
I love that. And I think you're right. Nowadays, it's easier than ever to start and run any business. And I like how Lee Warren, he actually says you can go global for the price of the Wi-Fi in nowadays circumstances, which is very, very true. So any couple who wants to start a business, they actually can do it so much more effortless than ever before. Right now, you can have a business coach across the globe. You can have a mindset coach across the globe. You can have anybody like your relationship expert like yourself as well across the globe, right? You don't have to be locally to somebody to fix your problem if you face a problem. And I think what you said there about feminine masculine energy in a business is really so important to be aware of as well, because naturally men would be more decisive because this is masculine energy, right? And women would be more nurturing, as you said earlier. But you know, as we all know, tendency in the world is slightly different right now, right? We have really strong feminism happening right now, and unfortunately very often it is coming from a very angry spot of women. It's coming from the spot of being very disappointed and hurt and you know, like really let down in the past. And that's why some of them are really acting in a very aggressive way, which again is not really helping, right? Because as we all know, if a very masculine man is with this woman, you probably wouldn't even want to be next to her. So what to do in the business if, for example, a woman is, you know, more masculine and she wants to be the one who is making all the decisions. She wants to be the one who wants to be in charge, and she's coming from, you know, woman empowerment, stuff like that, rather nurturing empowerment. What do you think about this?
It's interesting. I have a little bit of a different viewpoint on this. So because the reason is that I tend to see people as people. I don't necessarily see them as a man or a woman. So what I meant before is that there is a tendency, I think, maybe I'm not using the right words, but I'll do my best. Women want to collaborate and they want to nurture. It's part of our nature because, I don't know, we're born like that. Yeah. But it also means that when, let's say, the time comes to nurture, the time comes to help someone grow, a child to grow, we are naturally then put into a leadership position. And so as a result, we're developing the leadership skills and we're developing the decision skills that men are cultivating in just a different environment. It's true, I think, to some extent, and again, please correct me if I'm wrong, or any of the listeners. Like I said, I might not be using the right words precisely. So there is, perhaps there is a difference in energy sometimes in the way we apply them, but it doesn't necessarily mean that we're coming in a conscious way to clash with each other. I think it has to do with the environment that we kind of grew up in and the opportunities we had to develop aspects of ourselves that express a certain energy at some point in our life. So if a woman is coming in strongly in a business, good for her. It means that she had the opportunity to develop strong leadership skills, and she has the confidence and the strength of mind to support her viewpoint. Now, if that is, that could be a way to trigger or block another woman as well in a conversation. It doesn't necessarily mean that she will be blocking just her business partner, the male in the couple. So it might not necessarily be so much about what energy you bring into the table. It might be about how are you communicating your point across. What is your intention when you're communicating? Are you looking to make it personal? Do you just care about your point getting across? Are you looking to have a solution for the business? Are you looking to collaborate? So I think it's all intention. And I think it's the same with guys. Like, there are so many men out there who are up for collaboration, and they do that. They are enjoying that way of working. They are also nurturing their environment, and they're also nurturing their employees in the business, and looking for ways to cultivate a beautiful relationship with the female partner. So I just think it has to do with our experiences and our intentions and what we're willing to bring to the table at any point. And again, going back a little bit into mindfulness, are we aware of our ways? Are we aware of our intentions, and are we aware of what we're putting across and how people respond to that?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think this is where I'm coming from into that.
I like that. So basically everything goes back to the mindset and the mindfulness, to be aware. And I think you're right. Awareness is really, really important. So no matter whether you are a bit more decisive and you want to be in charge, it's all about being collaborative together at the same time. And to be able to discuss and see where things are going, rather being quite selfish and making decisions. Okay, that's interesting. I like that because what I noticed, the tendency happens that usually one partner or another, they'll be more leading the business, and other partner will be more helping. And I think that's very, very natural way of running a business. And unfortunately, what happens when another partner feels like, I do more than you do, or this business is because of me, or if not me, this business wouldn't be there, right? So at some point, competition kicks in, right? And I wonder how they can avoid the competition or that bitterness, because we want to help couples who are in the business to carry on running their business. Whatever their personalities are, stronger, weaker, you can work around it. But what to do when that competition and that bitterness kicks in?
I think it has to do a lot with the quality the relationship had before the business started. So, because chances are competition has already been there before, and it's just found another way to be expressed. But also, I think we don't realize that, because perhaps it's coming from different contexts. We talk about teams in the sports environment. We talk about teams in business. We don't necessarily talk about team in a couple. We only we recently, or I believe it's recent, we started to talk about teams in a family. But a couple is a team when they have things that they're sharing, and they have a house that they're looking after. They have a common life that they are looking after. That doesn't change when we start a business. If anything, it's getting amplified. So understanding how a team works well can fundamentally shift the quality of a relationship. A team doesn't work well if you have people inside competing. Someone might argue, yeah, but it drives the team to kind of move towards higher performance scores. Perhaps, but it doesn't necessarily help the quality of the relationship within the team members, because it means that at any point they might not necessarily feel that they're very safe with each other, or that they can trust each other. So the bonding of that team might not be working very well. And so I would argue that the team in itself is not as perhaps not as coherent, or that it would not necessarily stay together for long term because of that element of trust that is potentially missing. It's just, of course, my point of view, and people are free to disagree with that. But also, sometimes people are not aware of the fact that they're competing with each other, and they're not also aware of the fact that they might, of the negative parts or negative aspects of competing with your partner, how much they end up undermining their partner if they feel that they haven't contributed as much to the business. But also we tend to forget that there are all these different aspects, different parts that a business has. It's not possible for one person to do everything. And we know that, especially people who have started their businesses as a team of one. Like at some point you get exhausted. If you don't have people in, if you don't bring people in to help you, then the business dies or grows extremely slowly, or at some point you quit because you run out of steam. You just cannot do things on your own. And so pitching oneself above everybody else, not realizing that without their contribution and without their support and without their presence, the business will not be able to succeed or will not be able to live long term, then, I don't know, you're missing the point, basically. And also, once the relationship starts to change their dynamic towards that direction, it takes a lot of effort to shift it. And if possible, to shift it. It takes is it worth it? That would be my question. Is it really worth to go in that direction and really have both people suffer because one feels that they have to prove themselves to the partner who is doubting their abilities or who is pitching themselves above the other person, and the one expends so much energy to prove their position in that relationship, to kind of make their mark. So, I would really question the quality there of the way that they spend time together.
Love that. And I must say, a very, very important point you made is about that business wouldn't exist without you two. You two are really important. You two are very, very important parts of the business as well as other people. So when people look at their partners as you are part of the team, rather you're my husband, the whole perception is different straight away. And it's almost like if sales team in the business will be saying to accountancy team like, oh, we are the most important guys in this business, without us you wouldn't be here. But an accountancy would be like, I'm sorry, but if you don't have our department, then how are you going to carry on being paid, right? And so on and so on. So the same within husband and wife, boyfriend and girlfriend, or whatever gender you are, even if you're the same gender relationship, it's about making sure that you understand that you are in partnership and you two are really important parts of the business. I love that. We actually have a nice comment here from Olga. She says that very important points, and she says it's a great interview. Thank you so much, Olga. And I wonder, Olga, where are you joining us from? Please do let us know, because so far we have people, actually you'll be surprised to hear, we have people from all over the world. We have people from Turkey, Egypt, we have people from Delhi joining us, even Nigeria, right? We have it from Indonesia and Italy and UK as well. So we are international today. How is that for you?
It's great. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you so much. I
It's
appreciate
wonderful. It's wonderful. Yes, thank you so much, those who are actually with us right now. Just to let you know, I'm speaking to Dr. Constantina Stamou, who actually is a relationship expert. And today we're discussing how to run a successful business being as a couple, right? Because there's so many pitfalls, there's so many things you have to consider and remember that when you are in the business, but especially when you're taking business back home with you as a couple, right? So you don't speak about the business by the dinner table. And actually, that's my question to you. How can we avoid conversations about business by the dinner table?
I think it's a mutual decision. It's a little bit like deciding to not have the mobile phone on the dinner table, or to not have the magazines or the newspaper or the TV on. Because to revert back to business talk, it's the easiest thing. But it's also a little bit like reverting back to talk only about the family, or only about children, or a parent that is like it's making our life difficult. So these are the immediate, very accessible topics of conversation. So the couple has to very consciously come together and decide, for the sake of our relationship, we will leave the business talk outside of the dinner table. If we want to talk more about business, then we have to do it tomorrow morning, or we have to have an earlier meeting, or we have to have a meeting at a specific time in the week. And that also means that that's great, because it actually you know how people complain about meetings, that they go on and on and on and nobody really gets to a concrete point. But that's great, because if you find that you don't have that extra time to talk at the dinner table, then that means that there's this opportunity to be very specific during your meetings, and you have to be very efficient with the topics that you're conversing about. You have to be very decisive. So that's a great, actually, business skill to develop even more. So yeah, it's a great benefit to not talk about business during the dinner table, and definitely do not talk about business when you go to bed. Like that, those are really, or when you go dating. Really, these are not the spaces for that. It's not the time for that.
I love that. And I think that's really, really important point. I just realized actually what I have done whilst I was responding on one comment. I actually highlighted myself rather you.
It's okay.
What am I doing here? Sorry about that. It just means how, sometimes when you try to do multitasking, because actually I'm sure he's asking, happy being a part of this important webinar about the business conversation. So I was responding to him, do you have any questions? Maybe you have some opinions, so let us know. Then I'm thinking, well, I can see just myself on the screen. Right? But again, it just shows how sometimes you need a team, to help you with stuff like that. So yes, today I'm doing this all myself. So that's why it's a bit challenging when you're actually multitasking. So I'm really sorry about that. But
no, it's fine.
yeah, because sometimes it happens. But I think it's really important to remember that everything in our life is a choice. Just like you said, bringing your phone to the table is a choice. Bringing a magazine to your table is a choice. Bringing conversation about business is still that choice. Whether you are driving in a car and you still talk about the business, it is a choice. So I'm sure all of us, whether you're as a couple in a business or you're as an individual and your partner is doing separate business, let's say they're also a business person but not in your business, you can make a choice whether you will bring conversations about business to the dinner table or not. It's all about the choice. I love that. Really love that. But I'm aware that you have a Facebook group. Could you please tell us more about that? What is that group all about and why people should join that group?
Yeah, of course. Thank you for that. If you are a man or a woman in a romantic relationship and you are also the co-founder, co-owner, co-director of your business with your partner, and you want to ensure that your relationship remains strong, vibrant, and joyful as you navigate the challenges of your shared business, even if you find your everyday conversations or you share time and your personal time dominated by work, or you find the area of decision-making and role descriptions a challenging territory, then I'd love to invite you to join my Facebook group, Strong Relationship, Successful Partnership.
Wow.
We have regular posts on easy tips to help your romantic relationship and your business relationship stay vibrant and strong from all possible angles. And we are building a community of dynamic, supportive, and like-minded men and women to connect with and share experiences with. So I'd love it if you join us today and start connecting by introducing yourselves. So just look for Strong Relationship, Successful Partnership, and we will come up. So thank you for that.
I love that. That sounds like a really cool group to have and to be part of. That is amazing. Wonderful. And my darling, how people get in touch with you? What can you do for them? Because you have so much knowledge when it comes to relationships. Well, you're certified a relationship coach. So of course, you know so much. So how people can reach out to you and what exactly can you help people with?
I work with busy couples who have been together for some time, but whose relationship has been affected either by family circumstances or their business, but who are now very keen to find their way back to each other. So I help them come up with an action plan, I help them clarify their situation, and I support them with weekly sessions towards their defined goal. And so it's always about how can we find ways to get back towards each other, how can we deepen our emotional connection, and how can we communicate with more clarity so that we can understand each other more. So the best way to find me is through my website. It's thelantern.uk. So you can message me through that, or of course on all social media. And Olga, I think you have already added my links into the chat box. So yeah, please feel free to connect. On Facebook, you can find me as C Stamou Coach, and my name and my page is going to come up. So thank you so much for that.
Yes, I was, as I said, that's why I was like sitting here typing your lesson and everything else. And I was like, oh Oh my God, I can see just me and you talk in the background. I feel really bad about that.
No, that's fine. It's fine.
But thank you so much. What you provided today is really, really valuable. And these few tips will definitely keep people going. And I always say, today is Friday and we're going onto the weekend. And that's why I like to keep Fridays for relationships, because now you have 2 days to practice these tips, to implement these tips with your loved ones, your partners, maybe even with your parents and children. Because how often actually families sit at home by the dining table and still talk about business when kids are just going, oh my God, right? I mean, if you involve children, that's great, okay? But if you don't, they will get bored, okay? So let's make sure you practice the tips today, which you kindly shared with us, which actually are very simple to apply, but we forget about them.
Yeah, it's very hard, actually. The simplest things are sometimes the hardest to apply, because we kind of take them for granted that, okay, we managed day 1 to not have, let's say, the mobile phone on the table, but actually day 3 you will find it creeping back in. And so that would be when we would question, am I really doing it well? Is it really working? Or how many times we go to bed and we say, I'm going to leave the mobile phone outside the bedroom, and then 3 days, 4 days later it's by the pillow again. So it's simple things, but hard to apply. And so being kind to oneself and giving time for the new habits to kind of stick in, it will pay long term. It's really worth it.
I love that. And actually what you're saying there resonates with me, because I was the one who was quite guilty of bringing the phone back. Yeah, I would agree, like, yeah.
You do.
And then, I'll keep it for alarm, I'll keep it for something else. And then, long story short, it just again in my hand. Like, I didn't know how it happened. It just jumped into my hand. So yeah, I know things happen. But yeah, wherever you agree, practice, and practice. Practice always makes things perfect. So it's all about practicing. And if you need to have another conversation and discussion about how can you do things better, then have it. Because the last thing what you want is to have a nasty argument about stuff which aren't even that important, but you just had enough, because it's how arguments happen, right? So let's have discussions, let's have agreements, and let's make sure you together as a couple run a very successful business, because only then you can feel successful, if you team up together and you apply everything what we discussed today. Well, thank you so very much, Constantina, for coming back today to my studio. I really appreciate you, and I really appreciate all your wisdom and all the knowledge which you shared with me today. It is so, so special. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Olga, for having me. It's always a pleasure. And thank you so much. It's amazing. Thank you.
Oh, it's so nice to hear that. Thank you so much. And everybody who was watching us today, whether you were watching us live or on a replay, please make sure you do comment and you share with us where exactly you locate, because we want to make sure that this message reaches as many hearts as possible. And if you could make a little share, just like once, imagine how many lives and families can you save, right? Imagine if everybody will hear the tips from today, they will go back home and they'll practice them with their partners. And that will be just because you made one share. So I'll be very grateful. And I'm sure, Constantina, you also will be very grateful if people could just make one share each. And then the world will definitely be a better place. Why? Well, just think, your children are copying you. So whatever you're bringing back home, they're learning from you. So whatever you are learning right now, take it back home, share with others, so we can raise more generations of happy and healthy people.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Whatever
you
you do, have a wonderful weekend. Apply all the tips, and we'll see you back on Monday. Take care.